is the same whether you're in an office or you're managing remote and virtual teams. How you execute those leadership principles is sometimes a little bit different. There's a few things you're going to want to make sure that you do with your virtual teams. First, if this is new, you really got to reset the expectations. And I'm talking go all the way back to the basics. Start with, what are my working hours? I know that sounds silly, but when your office is now your home and there's no distinction between the two places and you've lost your sense of normalcy, questions will come up. Can I work at night? Can I work before my shift starts? What am I allowed to do as far as my working hours are concerned? Our teams are normal business hours. The only people for Rocket Station that work outside of our normal 8 to 5 hours are our analysts who put reports together before start of day. I love having data before the day starts, but outside of that, everyone else just has normal working hours. Availability can also seem weird in a virtual environment. When can I reach out to someone? When is someone available? The chat tools make it very simple to set a status. Skype, Slack, and many of the other tools have a color coding system where you can rename your status and set a color code to it to let your team know exactly where you are. We have a 3 color code status system at Rocket Station. Red means I'm busy, do not reach out for any reason. Orange means I'm working on something, but if it's important, you can call me. Green is I'm good to go. You can reach out, chat, video call, however you need to reach out to me is fine. So it's important you create an availability process with your team so communication can flow easily and seamlessly across your teams. Dress code is another one of those basic things that seems to totally get lost when we transition to a remote environment. At Rocket Station, dress code is the same whether we're walking into an office or we're working from our home office. We are business casual every day unless there's extenuating circumstances. When we're on video calls, interacting with clients, even interacting with our own team, it totally changes the environment when you're dressed appropriately. What am I allowed to do at my workstation and what am I not allowed to do at my workstation? For us, it's pretty simple. Same rules apply at the home office as they do in our regular office. Nobody likes watching someone eat through the computer. It's gross. So no food allowed at the desk. Food and drink is limited to water, tea, or coffee in either a Rocket Station mug or a blank cover. The general rule of thumb is the HR guidelines are the same working from home as they are within the office. Resetting the expectations from the start makes the overall process so much easier. I highly recommend you create a process for your team about working hours, availability, and overall workplace environment and structure that you're allowed to have in your day-to-day in your home office. You can really help your team members by supplying some anchors to their schedule throughout the day. Working from home can come with a lot of pressures you otherwise wouldn't feel in an office. By having some anchors in the day, we can create consistencies for our team. Start of day, midday, and end of day routines are critical for your team to have consistency, stability, and the outcomes that you're looking for. Start of day, every one of our team members says good morning, they check in, they say hello to their group and their teams, and they let everyone know they're locked in and ready to go. Every damn day. It's a consistency that builds rapport, it helps build relationships, and eliminates the unknown. We all know who's there, who's ready to rock, and who's ready to perform. Midday, we love to have some key activities. Quick check-ins with our teams, and then I like to take a quick break. Whether that's go for a walk, go for a jog, ride my skateboard, celebrate Dirk's amazingness, anything to get the blood moving for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I don't go on a full-on workout because I can't recover in time to get back in a timely fashion, but just 10 to 15 minutes to do something to get your blood moving, get out of your office for a few minutes, will be a huge, huge boost to your mental stamina throughout the day. Your midday anchors and having a routine to break up the monotony on the day is really important to a successful home environment. End of day, we have a schedule both for work and personal. Work, we log out the same way you say goodbye to everyone when you leave the building. You let everyone know you're on your way out, and it's a good way for us to stay aligned as a team. Personally, I like to reset the house throughout the day. When it's evening time and I'm leaving my office, I can structure the house to be more of a home. I dim the lights, I make it feel more natural, I leave my office, and I don't walk back in. By having this routine and having a few anchors throughout the day, it creates a stability and a consistency that allows me to perform at a higher level. Help your team create some anchors for their day. Start of day, midday, and end of day points that'll allow them for a little bit of a mental break and more productivity at the end. You're going to want to meet with your team more regularly than you're used to. We have a weekly meeting with all departments at minimum. Sometimes it's more. A meeting is defined as a scheduled agenda meeting where there's progress points or outcomes to be delivered. We have to do that because with everyone working remotely, communication just doesn't flow as seamless. We want to make sure there's nothing lost in translation, no one's confused, and everyone can crush their day without any question. By meeting regularly, we also build relationships. We can also build culture and build rapport with each other by getting face to face, getting together as a group, spending a little bit of time talking about our personal lives before the meeting starts, and then getting ready to rock and roll. Consistent, regular meetings with your team, more than you're used to, will go a long way in creating accountability and transparency within your team. All meetings, it's required to have your video on. No black boxes on our team meetings. Seeing someone face to face totally changes the conversation, and it's important that everyone on your team has their video on. If you set that expectation from the beginning, it's a whole lot easier to implement long term. Team calls can actually be really fun in a virtual environment when everyone has their video on, they're focused, engaged, and ready to perform. You're probably going to want to build in a little more personal time into your team meetings. The natural conversations that happen around the water cooler, at lunch, during breaks, just don't happen as much during virtual environments. We need to make sure we create personal time intentionally. If you take some time to start each meeting with a little bit of personal information from each team member, it'll go a long ways in the relationship building among your team. You gotta slow down and celebrate more wins for a couple reasons. One, it'll help build culture. When we celebrate people's wins, we reinforce the positive things. It simply makes people feel good. It also highlights the things we're reinforcing, and therefore other team members know what's important, what we're focusing on, and what we're rewarding. It also keeps everyone updated throughout the day. By celebrating wins, your team now knows exactly what's going on. We celebrate really small wins within every department. Each department has their own group chat. So for sales, every time a discovery call is set, we celebrate that win. Every time there's a new client onboarded, we celebrate that win. Every step of the process, we celebrate publicly. Each person has a different role and different tasks assigned to that role. We want to make sure and reinforce when they're doing amazing things. So we celebrate all small wins throughout the day. All progress is essentially posted throughout all forms of communication, mostly chat, but we let people know the small wins that we have within our groups. It creates camaraderie, it'll bond your team, and it'll also improve alignment and improve communication. Management principles are the same, whether in an office or you're managing teams remotely. But with your virtual teams, you have to make sure you're super intentional about building rapport, about creating stronger relationships, aligning communication, celebrating wins, a more regular meeting rhythm, just to make sure your entire team is aligned throughout the entire day.